I am Rajendra Bade, and today we are going to solve problems on axially loaded composite bars connected in series. Let's start. Here is one example of axially loaded composite bar. The bar is made of three different materials having different cross sections, and these bars are connected to each other coaxially and rigidly. This is an example of bars in series composite bar. Here it is one more example of bars in series composite bar. Actually, it is made of single material, but different segments of this bar have different diameters. So clearly we can see for different segments, three different diameters. So this is one example of bars in series. And here again, actually, it is a single bar. Uniform cross section throughout its length, but it depends on loads applied on the bar. If different portions of the bar, different segments of this bar are carrying different axial loads, then we may consider this bar as a bar made of three different bars connected coaxially. Watch here. Here I have shown a marking on the bar. Here also there is a marking on the bar. If these three portions of this bar are carrying different loads, then we consider or we analyze that problem using the logic of axially loaded bars in series, and you will understand it better when we'll solve problems. Here is a composite bar. It is made of three different materials, have three different cross sections and different lengths also. We are studying axially loaded bars. So it is uniaxial loading. So it is not necessary to draw three-dimensional diagram. So here is the bar, first portion, second portion and third portion have different lengths L1, L2, L3, different materials. So Young's modulus of material 1, Young's modulus of material 2, Young's modulus of material 3, and three different cross-sectional areas. A1, A2 and A3 is cross-sectional area of third bar. Here are some forces I have shown acting. All forces are along one axis, that is axis of the member. To find stress, we are going to use this formula. Of course, these are axially loaded bars. And deformation, PL by EA. So stress in first part is load on first part divided by cross-sectional area of first part. So what is stress in this first portion? P by A. Simple. Stress in first portion is load on first portion divided by cross-sectional area of first portion. Load on second part is P2. Stress in second part is load on second part divided by cross-sectional area of second part. Stress in third part is load on third part divided by cross-sectional area of third part. So simple. Similarly, deformation, delta 1, check here, it is the same formula. Delta 1 is P1 L1 divided by E1 A1. P1, load on the first part, L is length of first part, E is Young's modulus of first part, and A1 is area of first part. Similarly, delta 2 and delta 3. So very obvious. Now, if you want total change in length of the bar, delta 1 is change in length of first portion, delta 2 is change in length of second portion, and delta 3 is change in length of third portion. So total change in length of the bar, because bars are in series, simply add them. Total change in length of the bar, delta. It is delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. Now, most important part of this discussion is to find what is the load on first part, what is the load on second part, and what is load on third part. If you know the load, since all other details are known, watch here, we know length, area, cross. What is important thing is now to know load on the first part, to know load on the second part, and load on the third part. So try to understand it, how exactly we find out it. Here I have used certain values of these forces. So check. If you add these forces, you will find sum of all forces is equal to 0. So this bar is in equilibrium. Suppose you don't know one of these four forces. Then how you find external unknowns? By drawing FBD and apply conditions of equilibrium. So if an external force is unknown, conditions of equilibrium should be applied to find the unknown force. Simple. Let's assume that this force is unknown. So apply conditions of equilibrium. Leftwards negative and rightwards positive. So add all these forces. So minus 1 because it is leftwards, plus 3 because it is rightwards, minus 4 because it is leftwards, and R which is rightwards. And you get the answer. R is 2 kilonewton. You got positive answer. What do you mean by positive answer? Direction in the diagram is correct. Okay. So this is how, if a force is unknown, apply conditions of equilibrium and get that unknown force. Now, we want to find P1. What do you mean by P1? Force on first part. So this is the first portion. And how to find force in the first portion? In the first portion. So to find force in a member, we should use method of sections. So consider a section and draw FBD of any one of the two sides. Left side is smaller. Less number of forces are there on the left side. So we should draw FBD of left side part. So FBD of LHS section. How you draw FBD? Diagram of body under consideration, then external forces, and then reaction. So let's proceed. Left side portion. Watch here. So only left side portion we have considered. This is FBD of left hand side. Now applied forces on the left side. So only one force. So 1 kilonewton. And the reaction on section NN. Of course equal and opposite reaction. So P1 is 1 kilonewton. You may use conditions of equilibrium. So sigma F is equal to 0. Minus 1 because it is leftwards, plus P1 because it is rightwards. When you apply conditions of equilibrium, use sign convention you have studied in statics. Leftwards negative, rightwards positive. And the answer you got, P1 equal to 1 kilonewton. Positive answer. Positive answer means direction in the FBD is correct. That is, it is a pull type of force. So it means this section is in tension. So this rod, first rod is in tension. And how much is that tension? 1 kilonewton. Now, I want to find force in the second part. What we should do? Consider a section in the second part. Section MM. Right now we are using method of sections. So draw FBD of left side portion. You may consider FBD of right side portion, but right now we are drawing FBD of left side portion. FBD of left hand side section MM. So this is that left hand side. Now show all applied forces on the left hand side. So only these two forces, 1 kilonewton and 3 kilonewton. Now show reaction. Since all forces are along a line, reaction will be on the same line. This P2 is force on section MM, which is in second portion. That is why I have labeled it in this manner, P2. This is actually force in this member. Now apply conditions of equilibrium. There is only one condition available here, sigma Fx equal to 0. So minus 1 leftwards, 3 rightwards, and P2 rightwards. So net force is minus 2 kilonewton. What do you mean by negative sign? Direction in the diagram is not correct. So correct direction is towards the cross section mm. Towards cross section mm means push type of force, that is compression. So P2 is 2 kilonewton compression. When you talk about force in a member, you should consider nature. So P1 is 1 kilonewton tension and P2 is 2 kilonewton compression. So this is how we find force in a member. But now listen, is it really required to draw free body diagram of one side of member? Not at all. Shortest way to find force in a member or force on a cross section, try to understand. P1 is 1 kilonewton tension. To find out this, it is not necessary to draw free body diagram of left hand side. So here it is section NN. Add forces on any one side. Simply add forces on any one side and you will get the answer. Check here. Add forces on the left hand side. And what do you get? 1 kilonewton pull. This force 1 kilonewton with reference to cross section NN, you should check whether it is pull or push. So 1 kilonewton force is moving away from, is directed as if it is moving away from cross section NN. That means it is a pull type of force on cross section NN. So force on cross section NN, that is 1 kilonewton tension. So if I ask you what is force in first part, consider a section in first part and add forces on any one of the two sides of cross section NN. So we have added forces on the left side and we got the answer, 1 kilonewton pull, that is 1 kilonewton tension. What will happen if we add forces on the right side? To find force on cross section NN. On the right side of cross section NN, 3 kilonewton rightward force, 2 kilonewton rightward force and 4 kilonewton leftward force. Now listen, rightwards, leftwards are directions. Now we are finding force on cross section NN, that is we are finding force in this member. When you want to find force on a cross section, we add forces on any one side, but while adding these forces, use nature. That is, check whether force is push type of force or pull type of force. Listen to me very carefully. I am adding forces on the right side. 3 kilonewton pull, 2 kilonewton pull. So total 5 kilonewton pull and 4 kilonewton push. So on cross section NN, 5 kilonewton pull and 4 kilonewton push. So net force is 1 kilonewton pull. Yes, we got the same answer. So have you realized that? If you want to find force in a member, take a cross section in that member and simply add forces on any one side. But when you add forces, check whether it is push or pull and add the forces. Okay. Let's see whether you have understood this. I want to find force in middle portion. Consider cross section in the middle portion, cross section MM, and add forces on any one side. So let's add forces on the right side. So it is 4 kilonewton push type of force. Remember again, push and pull, these words we use with reference to cross section MM. Push type of force means towards cross section MM. Pull type of force, that is away from cross section MM. So 4 push and 2 pull. So net force on cross section MM is 2 push, 2 kilonewton compression. Check what answer you get when you add forces on left side of cross section MM. On the left hand side, 3 kilonewton push because it is towards cross section MM and 1 kilonewton pull. So 3 kilonewton push and 1 kilonewton pull. So net force is 2 kilonewton push type of force on cross section MM. 2 kilonewton push type of force. So in the middle portion, force is 2 kilonewton compression. So I think you have understood. Now let's find force in the last part. Consider section RR. To find force in this third portion, just consider a section in the third portion and add forces either on the right side or on the left hand side. Right side is preferable here because there is only one force on the right side, and for cross section RR this 2 kilonewton force is pull. So what is force on cross section RR? 2 kilonewton tension. Simple. So P3, that is force in the third part, is 2 kilonewton tension. Remember, it's very obvious. To find stress in each part, sigma is equal to load on the part and cross-sectional area of the part. To find elongation of each portion, load on the portion, length of the portion, Young's modulus of the portion, and cross-sectional area of the portion. Listen, to get all concepts cleared, you must solve problems. So let's solve some problems. A square bar 25 millimeters into 25 millimeter is subjected to axial forces at different locations as shown in figure. Find total elongation of the bar if Young's modulus of the material of the rod is 200 GPa. So actually it is one single bar. We are going to treat it as 3 bars rigidly connected to each other in series. Why? Try to understand. These 3 different portions of the bar are carrying 3 different loads. Check, there are forces at intermediate sections. Cross-sectional area. It is square cross-section, 25 millimeter into 25 millimeters. And for all the bars, it is the same cross-section. Young's moduli, again these are not 3 different materials. Same material throughout the rod. So Young's modulus is same. Now, consider a section in first part. Add forces on any one side of that section. So left side, what we are watching here, 50 kilonewton pull. That is P1, that is force on first part, is 50 kilonewton tension. Force on second part, 90 push type of force. Just we are adding forces on the left hand side. So 90 push type of force and 50 pull type of force. So net force is 40 push. To find force in the middle part, take a section in the middle part and add forces on any one of the 2 sides of that section. So right side of this section also you can consider. So if we consider right side of the cross section, then we get these 2 forces, 20 push and 20 push. So again the same answer. Middle portion is in 40 kilonewton compression. Now force on the third part. Let's consider right side. Any one of the 2 sides. So right side is preferable because there is only one force. So it is 20 kilonewton compression on this bar. So P1 is 50 kilonewton tension. P2 is 40 kilonewton compression. And P3 is 20 kilonewton compression. Now what exactly asked in the problem? Total elongation of the bar. And total elongation is delta equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. Simply find change in length of each portion and add. So that is what we are going to do here. So delta is equal to delta 1 P1 L1 upon E1 A1 plus P2 L2 upon E2 A2 plus P3 L3 upon E3 A3. So it is the same statement but in terms of loads, Young's moduli, etc. Now try to understand. E1, A1, E2, A2, E3 and A3 are same for all these 3 bars. Watch here. A2 and area and Young's moduli are same for all the 3 bars. So EA is common for all the 3 bars. So let's substitute the values. So delta is equal to 1 upon EA and in the bracket P1 L1 plus P2 L2 plus P3 L3. So Young's modulus 200 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per millimeter squared. Force in Newton, dimensions in millimeter. Area 625 millimeter squared. Now inside the bracket P1 L1. What is P1? 50 kilonewton. But it should be 50,000 Newton. 50 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. We should substitute here in Newton. So that 10 raised to 3 factor I have written outside the bracket. So this 10 raised to 3 is for the load 50 into 10 raised to 3. Here it is 40 into 10 raised to 3 and here it is 20 into 10 raised to 3. One more thing. Length 60 centimeters. 60 centimeter. We'll have to take care of units. We are using unit millimeters for lengths. So it should be 600. Here it should be 1000 millimeters. And here it should be 1000 millimeters. But that factor 10 I have written outside the bracket. One more very important thing. I have used a negative sign here. Try to understand. First part is experiencing tension, 50 kilonewton tension. Tension is elongation. So there is increase in length. Delta 1 is positive. But delta 2 and delta 3 are negative. That is reduction in length. Middle portion is carrying compressive force, compression, that is a decrease in length. Third portion is carrying compressive load, compression, that is decrease in length. So I have used a negative sign. While substituting values in this equation, I have taken care of sign conventions for deformations. Remember, decrease in length, negative, and increase in length, positive. Now just complete the calculations. Remember, while watching all these videos, keep calculators with you, pen and notebook. Do calculations yourself. In other chapters of strengths of materials or mechanics of solids, very long calculations are involved. And I have seen many students making mistakes in calculations because of lack of practice of calculations. So take a pause here, do all calculations yourself and then proceed. So here we got the answer, total deformation minus 0.24 millimeter. Now for change in length, it is negative change in length. It means it is decrease in length. So when you write your final answer, be very careful about the change in length. You must mention whether it is increase in length or decrease in length. So this is how we have completed the problem. Now let's read this problem. Determine elongation of the composite bar of uniform cross section 300 mm square. Again, this entire bar has the same cross section. Loaded as shown in figure. 60 kilonewton, 10 kilonewton, 30 kilonewton and 80 kilonewton. All external forces are known. Check here. These are really three different rods rigidly connected. First portion is made of aluminium, second portion is made of brass and third portion is made of steel. What is asked in the problem? Determine elongation of the composite bar. So simply add elongations in the three bars. Delta is equal to, that is total elongation is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. So first portion, what is the load on aluminium? Add forces on left side. I have taken section in the aluminium and I am adding forces on the left side. So 80 kilonewton tension. So in aluminium forces 80 kilonewton tension. On brass, check here, 80 pull and 30 push. So net 50 pull. On brass, that is this section, add forces on the left side. So it is 50 pull, that is 50 tension. And force on steel, add forces on the right side, 60 kilonewton tension. So cross-sectional area of aluminium, cross-sectional area of brass and cross-sectional area of steel 300 mm squared. Young's modulus of aluminium, megapascal, that is Newton per millimeter square. So 70 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per millimeter square, 105 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per millimeter square, and Young's modulus of steel 200 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per millimeter square. You will have to take care of units. Okay, let's proceed. Force on aluminium 80 kilonewton tension. Force on brass 50 kilonewton tension. And force on steel 60 kilonewton tension. Okay, total change in length is change in length of aluminium plus change in length of brass plus change in length of steel. So simply use that regular formula. Change in length of aluminium, PL by EA for aluminium, PL by EA for brass and PL by EA for steel. Now common is area value. So area I have written outside the bracket and I am going to put the other values inside the bracket. First portion is in tension, second portion is also in tension, and third portion is also in tension. It means all these three bars are in elongation. Okay, let's proceed. So I've substituted the value. 300 unit is millimeter square, correct. Young's modulus Newton per millimeter square of aluminium, Young's modulus of brass and Young's modulus of steel. Load on aluminium 80 kilonewton it is given. So we should use value here 80 into 10 raised to 3. Here it should be 50 into 10 raised to 3 and here it should be 60 into 10 raised to 3. What I have done? 10 raised to 3 common term is here outside the bracket. Also length is given 50 centimeters. So it should be in millimeters, 500 millimeters here, 700 millimeters here and 600 millimeters here. But that factor 10 I have written here. So I have substituted values taking care of units and then complete all the calculations. So delta is positive answer. What does that mean? It is overall elongation of the bar and write the answer. So delta is 3.616 millimeter increase in length. Now let's solve this problem. An aluminium bar of uniform cross section 300 mm square is supported and loaded as shown in figure. Determine force P to be applied at B. Watch the diagram. So that the lower end D does not move vertically. Neglect weight of the bar. Take Young's modulus 7 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per millimeter square. These three portions are carrying three different loads. Determine force P. You want to find out force P to be applied at B so that the lower end D does not move vertically. This is very important condition to understand. Lower end D does not move vertically. Now watch here, upper end is fixed. So if total change in length is increase in length, then point D will move downwards. Lower end D will move downwards. And if there is decrease in length, total decrease in length, then point D will move upwards. What is given in the problem? That what is asked in the problem? Find force P so that there is no displacement of point D. What does that mean? It means overall change in length of this bar. After application of these three loads, overall change in length of this bar is 0. So delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. So that delta is 0. Let's solve problem. Check what is data. Here is the bar. But in this diagram, we have missed one force, and which is that reaction here. It is fixed support. Even if it is fixed support, since all applied forces are collinear forces, reaction must be along the same line. So this is reaction. Cross-sectional area of first portion. Portion AB is first portion. Portion BC will consider second portion and portion CD as third portion. A1 is equal to A2 is equal to A3. And what is that? 300 mm square. Young's modulus of all these three parts. Young's modulus of all these three portions is 7 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per millimeter square. Now force in the first part. Add forces on any one side. And when you find force in a member, remember, while adding forces on any one side, check nature, whether it is push or pull. Okay. So force on this cross section, that is P1, we can write as R kilonewton tension, because it is pull type of force for this cross section. But remember, we are asked to find force P. So unnecessarily don't take this unknown in your calculations. Therefore, instead of considering upper portion To find force on this cross section, we'll consider lower portion. And therefore, I can write P1 as 30 pull, 20 pull. Pull is tension. Since we are adding forces, taking into care nature of the forces, we use sign convention pull positive and push negative. So 30 kilonewton is a pull type of force on this cross section. 20 kilonewton is a pull type of force on the cross section, that's why positive. And P is a push type of force on the cross section, that is why negative. Now middle portion. What is force on the middle portion? P2. So take a section in P2 and add forces. We don't want to increase number of unknowns in our calculations. So to find force on this cross section, don't consider upper side. Better consider lower side because all forces on the lower side are known. So force on this cross section P2 is 50 kilonewton tension, 30 pull and 20 pull. So total 50 kilonewton pull. And force on this cross section, it is 30 kilonewton pull. So portion CD is experiencing 30 kilonewton tension. So this is how we have found out force on each portion of the bar. Now, total change in length delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. But delta is 0. This is what I have explained you earlier. D does not move at all. So that means there is no compression of the bar, there is no elongation of the bar. So total change in length delta is 0. So put delta as 0. Before that, check delta P1 L1 upon E1 A1 plus P2 L2 upon E2 A2 plus P3 L3 upon E3 A3. We should put corresponding values in the formula. But Young's modulus, watch here, Young's modulus and cross-sectional area are same for this entire bar. So that is common factor. I have written outside the bracket. So delta is 0. Check here. Young's modulus 7 into 10 raised to 4. 300 Newton, it is in millimeter squared. 300 millimeters squared, that is cross-sectional area. 30 plus 20 minus P, this entire bracket is P1. P1. But it should be in Newton, that is why 10 raised to 3 here. P50 into 40. 50 is force in kilonewton and 40 is in centimeter, that is the length of middle portion. You must consider it in millimeters. And force in Newton, that is why 10 raised to 3 and 10 are outside the bracket. So even if 30 kilonewton into 10 raised to 3, it is Newton. And here it is 20 centimeter into 10, that is, now it's millimeter. Now watch in this equation. There is only one unknown P. So just complete the calculations and get the answer. So P is 180 kilonewton. So do the calculations properly. You must have calculation practice. Pause the video, do the calculations yourself and be sure that the load P is 180 kilonewton. This is the final answer. A member ABCD is subjected to point loads. Assuming the bar in equilibrium, find force P3. It means this force P3 is unknown. P1 is 120 kilonewton given. P2 is 20 kilonewton given. P4 is 160 kilonewton given. Determine also the net change in length of the member and maximum stress in the member. Take Young's modulus 2 into 10 raised to 5 megapascal. So it means this entire bar is made of same material that has Young's modulus 2 into 10 raised to 5. There are 4 forces applied at different positions on the bar, but only one force is unknown. It is collinear system of forces. So we can create only one equation, but that is enough to find that one unknown. Let's solve the problem. Area of first part, pi d squared by 4, 1590 millimeter square. Do these calculations yourself. Keep calculators with you. A2 is 706.9 millimeter square. A3 is 962 millimeter square. Circular cross sections. So pi d squared by 4. Okay. Young's modulus E1 of first part is same as E2 and E3, and that is 2 into 10 raised to 5 megapascal. Megapascal, nothing but Newton per millimeter square. Sum of forces equal to 0. Conditions of equilibrium. I am finding external force. I am applying condition of equilibrium. So sign conventions associated with direction of a force. Okay. So P1 leftwards minus 120, P2 rightwards 220, P3 leftwards, and it is unknown. Leftwards, that's why negative, and P4 rightwards, that's why positive 160. And this is how we have found out P3. We got positive answer. A positive answer means this direction is perfect. Okay. Determine also the net change in length of the member and maximum stress in the member. So first focus on net change in length. Consider first section. Find force in first portion. Check here. Now we are finding force in a member. Force on a cross section of a member. So here we have considered a cross section of the member, and on that cross section, that means force in this member we are finding. So now our sign convention is push and pull. Push negative, pull positive. Tension positive, compression negative. Okay. So on this cross section, it is P1, pull type of force. That is 120 kilonewton tension. So this is force on first part. We are using letter F for internal forces in this problem. Because for external forces, they have already used letter P. So F1 is a force in first portion. Now F2. Take a section in second part and add forces on any one side. Now our focus is on this cross section. With reference to this cross section, P2 is push type of force and P1 is pull type of force. So 120 pull and 220 push. So net is 100 push. So force on second part is 100 kilonewton compression. Push means compression. Now consider a section in third part. Now sum of forces on any one side. So better consider right side. So it is pull. How much is P4? 160. So 160 pull. So F3 is 160 tension. Now use formula. Total change in length is delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. Delta is equal to P1 L1 upon E1 A1. Now it is F1 L1 upon E1 A1. And so on. Young's modulus for all the three members is constant, same. So I have written it outside the bracket. I have written it outside the bracket. Now we'll put the values. Young's modulus 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter square. 120, what is that? Load in kilonewton into 10 raised to 3 to convert it into Newton. That I have written outside the bracket. So load here, F2 is 100 into 10 raised to 3. Here is 10 raised to 3 common. And F3 is 160 into 10 raised to 3. That 10 raised to 3 is here common. Now length 750 millimeters. 1 meter is 1000 millimeters. And 1.2 meter is 1200 millimeters. So I have written length in millimeters properly. Divided by areas in millimeters squared. So 1590, that is A1. 706.9, that is A2. And 962 millimeters squared, that is A3. Now do the calculations. And this is what is the total deformation in millimeters. Positive answer That means it is elongation, increase in length. To find maximum stress in the member, sigma 1, that is F1 upon A1. Sigma 2, that is F2 upon A2. Sigma 3, that is F3 upon A3. Simple. So put the values. F1 is 120 kilonewton and area A1 is 1590. So we got it 75.47 megapascal, nothing but Newton per millimeter squared in tension. Sigma 2, it is compressive stress 141.5. Sigma 3, 166.3. Just put corresponding values here, F3 upon A3, and we got the answer. Now compare these three values. The maximum stress is 166.3 and it is that in the third portion. So write answer properly. Maximum tensile stress is 166.3. But wait, when there is stress, tensile as well as compressive in the member. Watch here. In this member, there is tensile stress in the first part, there is tensile stress in the last part, third part that means, and there is compressive stress. So at different locations, nature of stress is changing. In such cases, listen to me very carefully. You should write maximum tensile stress and maximum compressive stress. Don't just compare magnitudes of stresses. Watch here. 75.47 and 166.3. Out of these two, both are tensile stresses. So I have written here maximum tensile stress is 166.3 and there is also compressive stress. So you should write answer maximum compressive stress is 141.5 megapascal. So this is how we have found out maximum stress. Remember what I said. When you are asked maximum stress, write maximum tensile stress and also maximum compressive stress. A 3-meter long rod of uniform cross section is carrying an axial tensile load. To what length the bar should be bored axially? Boring, that is drilling a hole. Boring is drilling a hole. Bored axially. So in this case, a hole is to be drilled in the bar along its axis. To what length the bar should be bored axially so that the total extension will increase by 25% under the same pull. Diameter of the rod is 40 millimeters and diameter of the bore is 20 millimeters. Young's modulus of the material of the rod is 200 GPa. Okay, let's check what information we have. 3-meter long rod, that is 300,000 millimeter. Uniform cross section carrying an axial tensile load. So an axial tensile load. So magnitude is unknown. So we have used letter P for that. So this is that 3-meter long rod carrying an axial tensile load. Okay. Area 1257 millimeter square. Delta is PL by EA. Since we don't know P, elongation of the rod we'll write in terms of P. And let's assume this P is in Newton. So we need not multiply it by 10 raised to 3 now. So P is in Newton. And we got delta 1.193 into 10 raised to minus 5 P. In terms of P we got delta. Okay. This is elongation of the rod under axial tensile load P. So now pull type of force or the magnitude of this pull force is the same, but now a hole is drilled. Check here. So this is the original bar and the hole is drilled up to distance x. So same pull and the bar is bored up to distance x. So this x is to be found out. But to find this value of x, what is condition? Total extension increases by 25%. Original extension is here, delta. We have found out. After drilling the hole, the extension is 25% more than this. So delta plus 25% of delta. 25% more deformation, that is this deformation plus 25% of this more. How we write it mathematically here? Try to understand. One more thing. Now watch here. Length x and remaining length. These two lengths have different cross sections. So we are going to consider this bar as two bars, a solid bar and a hollow bar of length x. So two bars rigidly connected to each other. So bars in series problem. Remaining length is 300 minus x. So there are two bars. L1 is 300 minus x and L2 is x. Area A1 is that solid cross section which we have already found out. And area A2 hollow cross section, that is to be found out. Okay. What is load on the first part? P. What is load on the second part? That is also P. So let's proceed. A1 is 1257 millimeter square. On the second part, area is A2 is pi by 4. D squared minus D squared. Outer diameter squared minus inner diameter squared. Delta dash, that is deformation after the hole is drilled. And this deformation is 25% more than deformation before the boring. So delta dash, check how we have mentioned here. Delta dash is original deformation plus 25% more. So original deformation plus 25% of delta. Load on this bar is P. Load on the second portion is also P tension. So load is same. So it is common factor. Young's modulus of this entire bar is same. So it is common factor. Lengths are different. So we are going to put length L1 300 minus x. Length L2 is x. So let's proceed. 1.25. This is 1 delta and this is 0.25 delta. So total left hand side value is 1.25 delta. And delta is in terms of P here that we have substituted. Now on the right side, P is unknown right now. Its value is not known. So we are carrying with that letter P. Young's modulus 200 into 10 raised to 3. L1 300 minus x millimeters. L2 is x millimeters. So just we have substituted corresponding value. So watch here, on the left hand side P, on the right side P. So divide this expression by P. So P will get cancelled. So there is only one unknown here, x. So be very careful in calculations and complete the calculations. And we have found out x as 2.245 meters. Here x is in millimeters. So you got x as 2245 millimeters. But write final answer in meters, 2.245 meters. So up to what length the rod should be bored? We have found out that answer, 2.245 meters. A steel bar shown in figure has uniform diameter 20 millimeters. It is held between two rigid supports and loaded by an axial force of 30 kN. Determine reactions at supports and change in length of the left portion, this portion, left portion. Take modulus of elasticity of steel 2 into 10 raised to 4 kilonewton per centimeter square. Okay, take care of units. What information we have? Area, pi d squared by 4, 314.16. That is area of first part, and area of second part is also the same, 314.16. Okay, Young's modulus of first part and Young's modulus of second part is the same. Okay. Now use conditions of equilibrium. Try to understand. To find support reactions, we should draw free body diagram. How we draw free body diagram? Draw diagram of body under consideration, show applied forces, and then at supports a reaction. Even if these are fixed supports, because it is collinear system of forces, force is along axis, reaction will be along axis only. So here it is reaction at left support and here it is reaction at right supports. Now, why reactions I have shown in the leftward direction? The first important thing is you can assume direction for reactions. So no problem if you show this reaction rightwards. No problem if you show this reaction rightwards. If assumed direction is wrong, you will get negative answer and then you realize that the direction shown in the diagram was wrong. You can correct those directions. So no problem at all if you assume the direction. But I have shown it leftwards. Simple reason, it's common sense I have used. There is 30 kilonewton force applied on the rod. Under this force, this rod has tendency to move rightwards and these supports are preventing rightward motion. That means reactions are leftwards. To prevent rightward motion, there must be leftward reactions. So I have shown leftward reactions. Now since it is collinear system of forces, we can create only one equation. So let's write the equation. Sigma F is equal to 0 and that is minus RL because it is leftwards, minus RR because it is leftwards, and 30 kilonewton it is positive rightward force. And this is the equation. Equation number 1. There are two unknowns. That's why I have labeled the equation. Now, when you draw free body diagram and apply conditions of equilibrium, remember number of unknowns and number of conditions of equilibrium must be the same so that you can find unknowns. Here there is only one condition of equilibrium we can apply here, but number of unknowns are 2. So we cannot solve or find these unknown forces reactions by conditions of equilibrium only. Such a problem is called a statically indeterminate problem, or such a system, this system of forces is called statically indeterminate system of forces. Statically indeterminate means cannot be solved or analyzed using conditions of equilibrium studied in statics. Cannot be analyzed using knowledge of statics only. It doesn't mean that it is impossible to solve, but cannot be solved using conditions of equilibrium only. Such systems are called statically indeterminate systems. So here it is statically indeterminate problem. Then how we should tackle it? So remember, create a relation. One more relation is required and you can create that relation by relating deformations of these two parts of the member. Now relation between deformation of left side portion and right side portion. Relate deformations of these two bodies, left side portion and right side portion. Remember, it is bars in series problem. There are two bars, left side portion and right side portion. So we are going to solve it as a bars in series problem. How we relate deformation of left side and deformation of right side? Delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2. But now, this bar is in between two rigid supports. When you apply 30 kilonewton force, this 30 kilonewton force creates pull on this bar, left side portion, and this 30 kilonewton force creates push on the right side. So right side portion will get compressed, left side portion will get elongated, but whatever it is, overall change in length will remain 0. This bar is in between two fixed supports, so total change in length remains 0. There is no displacement of right end, there is no displacement of left end, so there is no change in length of the bar. So total change in length is 0. So this is how we have substituted here for delta 0. Delta 1 is as usual P1 L1 upon E1 A1. Delta 2 is P2 L2 upon E2 A2. Okay. Now let's substitute the values. But before that, what is P1? P1 is load on the first part. So take a section on the first part and add forces on any one side. So if you add left hand side, there is RL pull. So force on the first part is RL pull. Okay. Now P2 here. It is force on the second part. So take a section in the second part and add forces on any one side. So if you add forces on the right side, on this side, so on this cross section, there is push type of force. And how much is that? RR. So force on the second part is push type of force RR. But listen, we don't want to bring the two unknowns in this equation. It can be done. Bring only one unknown in this equation and it's possible. Try to understand. We can add forces on any one side. So let's add forces on the left hand side. So what is force on this cross section? RL pull and 30 push. So RL pull is positive. So RL minus 30. So total force on this cross section is RL minus 30. So you may say that force on this portion is RR push, or you can say force on this portion is RL minus 30. It's better if you use RL minus 30. RL minus 30. So that in this equation there will be only one unknown, and that is RL. So let's put the values. 0 is equal to RL, that is P1, into L1, that is 300 millimeters. Given is 0.3 meters, so it is 300 millimeters, plus force on second part, that is P2. P2 is RL minus 30 into 700. 0.7 meter is 700 millimeters. Now take care of units. RL is in kilonewton. RL minus 30, this bracket is in kilonewton, but we should put values in Newton. So that is why we have multiplied it by 10 raised to 3. So this factor is outside the bracket. Divided by E and A. For both the members, that is left side portion and right side portion, E and A are common. So I have written outside the bracket. E is 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter squared. Here its given value is in kilonewton per centimeter square. And area 314.16 millimeter square. Now complete calculations. So we'll get RL 21 kilonewton. Put this value of RL in equation 1 and you get RR 9 kilonewton. We got positive answers. Positive answer means direction in the diagram are correct. RL is leftwards, correct. RR leftwards, that is also correct. When you write answer for reaction, you are asked to find reactions at supports. Write answer completely. RL is 21 kilonewton leftwards and RR is 9 kilonewton leftwards. Okay. Up till now, in this problem, what you have studied, it's very important to know. When it is statically indeterminate problem, you don't get external forces just by conditions of equilibrium. With conditions of equilibrium, you will have to use a relation between deformations. So how to solve statically indeterminate problem? Use conditions of equilibrium and use relation between deformations. You will understand it better when we'll solve some more problems. So first part is over. We have found out reactions. What else is asked in the problem? Change in length of the left portion. Okay, left portion is this portion. We want to find change in length of this portion. That is delta 1. Change in length of this portion is delta 2. So we are continuing with the example 6. Area pi d squared by 4, 314.16 millimeter squared. That is area of first part. Young's modulus of first part, it is 2 into 10 raised to 5. Of course, for both of the parts it is the same. FBD of the bar. So this is free body diagram. Now RL and R are known, so all external forces are known. When you want to find internal forces, you should draw free body diagram and show all external forces first. So we have shown all external forces. We want to find change in length of the first part. So first part, delta 1, P1 L1 upon E1 A1. Simple. Important part is what is P1? E1 we know, that is Young's modulus. Cross-sectional area we know. Length of the first part is known, 0.3 meters. Now what is load on the first part? So take a section in the first part. Add forces on any one side. So left side we'll consider. It is 21 kilonewton pull, 21 kilonewton tension. That means first part is in elongation. That is increase in length for the first part. Okay. So I've substituted the values. 21 kilonewton. So I have multiplied by 10 raised to 3. So it is in Newton. Length in millimeters. It's given 0.3 meters. But we have used this value here in millimeters. 2 into 10 raised to 5. Newton per millimeter squared. Here given value of E is 2 into 10 raised to 4. But we have taken care of unit. And cross-sectional area 314.16. Complete the calculations. So delta 1 is 0.1 millimeter increase in length. It is pull type of force on the first part. So it is increase in length, obviously. So this is how we have answered the question, change in length of the left portion. Okay. Now you tell me, how will you find change in length of the right side portion? Some of you will answer, simple, use the same formula, delta 2 is equal to P2 L2 upon E2 A2. True. You will get the correct answer, no doubt about that. But use little common sense. We already know that overall change in length is 0. A rod is in between two rigid supports. So if left side portion increases by 0.1 millimeter, right side portion decreases by 0.1 millimeter, so that net change in length is 0. So you need not do these calculations again, just write it. Deformation of second part is 0.1 millimeter decrease in length. Have you realized delta 1 plus delta 2 is 0. Increase positive, decrease negative. So total change in length is 0. Okay. So this is change in length of the second portion. Of course, it is not asked, but for your understanding, we discussed it. Let's proceed. A stepped round bar, that is bar with different diameters. A stepped round bar ABCD is fixed to unyielding supports. Yielding is that deformation. There is no deformation at all here. So when these are rigid supports, this term is used for the rigid supports. So when unyielding, this word is used with reference to supports, then you should consider perfectly rigid supports. Okay. So these are perfectly rigid supports, fixed supports at sections A and D as shown in figure. Okay. It is subjected to axial loads at sections B and C. So this is section B, that is junction of these two parts. And at this junction, there is 50 kilonewton force. Okay. Determine stresses in each portion. So stress in portion 1, stress in portion 2 and stress in portion 3 we want to find out. Determine stresses in each portion of the bar and displacement of section BC. Displacement of sections B and C. You want to find displacement of this section, that is this junction, and displacement of this junction. Young's modulus is 200 GPa. You know Newton per meter squared is Pascal. So GPa, gigapascal. Okay, let's proceed. Area of first part, pi d squared by 4, diameter is 50. Area of second part, diameter is 45. So pi d squared by 4 is 1590 millimeters squared. Area of third part, pi d squared by 4, 962 millimeters squared. Okay. Young's modulus, the entire bar is made of same material. Young's modulus is 2 into 10 raised to 3 megapascal. Megapascal is Newton per millimeter squared. Okay. FBD of the bar, because first we should find these reactions. So draw diagram of the bar, then show all active forces, 100 kilonewton, 50 kilonewton. These are applied forces, and then reactions. So reaction at this support, RD. Reaction at left side support, RA. So apply conditions of equilibrium. Sigma F is equal to 0. So RA rightwards, 100 leftwards, 50 leftwards, RD rightwards, that is equal to 0. So RA plus RD is equal to 150 kilonewton. Condition of equilibrium we have applied. There are two unknowns. So it is statically indeterminate problem. There is no other condition of equilibrium available for this FBD. So this is statically indeterminate system. Now we'll have to create one more equation using a relation between deformations. Delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3 is equal to total deformation. But the rod is in between two rigid supports. So total deformation must be 0. So relation between deformations. 0 is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. So total deformation is 0. As usual, P1L1 upon E1A1 plus P2L2 upon E2A2 and P3L3 upon E3A3, that is equal to 0. To find force in each part, it's better to consider always left side, so that in this equation you will have only one unknown, that is RA. So load on the first part, RA push, that is why I've used a negative sign. So delta 1 will be negative because it is compressive force. So reduction in length, and that is why I've used the negative sign. Consider section in middle part, that is RA negative and 100 positive. That's why I've written 100 minus RA into 750 by 1590. That is length 750 and cross-sectional area is 1590. Young's modulus I've written here outside the bracket because it is common for all these three terms. What is force on the third part? 150 minus RA. Length is 500. Cross-sectional area is 962. So simply we have substituted values here. Loads are here in kilonewton, 100 kilonewton, 150 kilonewton. RA is in kilonewton. So we should multiply load by 10 raised to 3. So it is common term I have written outside the bracket. Remember, you will have to take care of units. Many students make mistakes in calculations, and those mistakes are because of carelessness in units. Okay. Now do the calculations. This is how we have found out RA. RA is 83.37 kilonewton. Positive answer, that is direction shown in the diagram, is correct. So this force is rightwards. Put RA in equation 1, that is in this equation. So you will get RD. RD is 66.63 kilonewton. Now write answer. RA 83.37 kilonewton rightwards and RD 66.63 kilonewton rightwards. We got positive answer, so direction in the diagram is correct. So write answer for reaction in magnitude and direction form. So now we know all forces acting on the rod. So we are ready to find internal force and therefore deformations. So let's proceed. Area of first part is 1963 millimeters squared. Area of second part, diameter is 45. So pi d squared by 4, it is 1590 millimeters squared. Area of third part is 962 millimeters squared. Young's modulus, we know 2 into 10 raised to 3 megapascal, and these reactions are known. This is 83.37 kilonewton and this reaction is 66.63 kilonewton. Delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3, but total deformation is 0. Let's proceed. Determine stresses in each portion of the bar. Okay, stress we'll find out first. Sigma 1 is P1 upon A1. Simple. Stress in first part is load on first part divided by cross-sectional area of first part. So sigma 1 is P1 upon A1. Take a section in the first part. What is the load on the first part? 83.37. Add forces on the left hand side. So 83.37 and it is push type of force. So stress is 42.47 Newton per millimeter square. As I have told you already, when you write stress, normal stress, whether it is tensile or compressive, you should mention there. This is push type of force and that is why it is compression. It is compressive stress. Similarly, sigma 2 is equal to P2 upon A2. What is load on the second part? Add forces on the left hand side is 100 minus 83.37, that is 16.63. So substitute values, load in Newton, area of second part, that is 1590, and we found out the stress. We have found out the stress. Now this force is tensile force. Watch here, in the second part 100 pull and 83.37 push. So net force is 16.63 pull type of force. That means middle portion is in tension. So it is tension. Now third part. What is stress on the third part? 66.63. So sigma 3 is equal to P3 upon A3. Put the values. We got the answer. And it is tension. So this is how we have found out stress in each part. Now displacement of sections B and C. Displacement of section B. How much this section B or this junction will move and in which direction? Now try to understand. Left end, because it is fixed support, doesn't move. Right end, because it is fixed support, doesn't move. But because of elongation compression of these members, B and C, these junctions are going to move. Now, what is force on this part? 83.37 compression. That means this part is in compression, so its length reduces. So length reduces, but A remains in the same position, so B moves leftwards. Okay. Now try to understand. What is force on CD, portion CD? It is in tension, 66.63 kilonewton. So tension in this portion, it is tension, that means this is elongation of the rod. It is elongation of the rod, but its right end is fixed. So when this portion CD elongates, junction C moves leftwards. There must be increase in length of this portion. Okay, watch here carefully. I have shown here middle portion end B moves leftwards and this end C moves leftwards. So point B is now at the new position here and point C is now at new position. So length AB has reduced because it is in compression. Length CD has increased because it is tension. Now delta 1 is P1 L1 upon E1 A1. Simply find compression of this portion and you will get that displacement of point B. So put the values as usual. This is how you have found out deformation. Since P is compressive load, it is decrease in length. Therefore, displacement of section B is leftwards. Similarly, find delta 3. Now, if delta 3 is elongation, increase in length, because portion CD is experiencing tension, 66.63 kilonewton tension. So, put that value here. So, 66.63 into 10 raised to 3 Newton, 500 length of this portion, Young's modulus, area, cross-sectional area, we have substituted and we have found out deformation of portion CD. Deformation is increase in length. So, length of portion CD has increased, that means point C has moved leftwards. We are not writing answer for deformation of any portion. We are writing answer for displacement of junction B and displacement of junction C. So, we should write the answer properly. Answer the question. Displacement of section B and C. So, we have written here section B moves 0.212 millimeters leftwards and section C moves 0.173 millimeters leftwards. Read the problem. A steel rod and a copper rod are connected coaxially and rigidly in series as shown in figure. There is a gap of 0.25 mm between the right support and the copper rod before application of 150 kilonewton load. Find stresses induced in the two materials and actual change in length of each rod. So we want to find stress in steel, stress in copper, change in length of steel and change in length of copper. Okay. Take Young's modulus of steel 200 GPa and Young's modulus of copper 100 GPa. Free body diagram of the composite rod. Because you want to find force in a member, so you must know all forces acting on the rod. So first of all, we'll find external forces. So here is the member. There is 150 kilonewton force at the junction. So show that force, 150 kilonewton. And then reaction. So at the left support, I have shown reaction RS. And at the right support, now this is the point you should understand. There is a gap of 0.25 millimeter. When 150 kilonewton force is applied, it creates elongation in steel bar. So system moves, that rod, copper rod moves rightwards and it comes in contact with the right side support. So there will be reaction from right side support. So that reaction will show. So this is how we have drawn free body diagram. Here we have assumed that a steel rod elongates enough to fill this gap. And that is why we can show reaction here RC. If our assumption is wrong, it means if deformation of steel rod is not enough, if displacement of right end of copper rod is not enough to touch this wall, then we'll get illogical answer. So don't worry about that. So conditions of equilibrium, all forces are collinear, so only one equation we can write. sigma F is equal to 0, RS leftwards, 150 kilonewton force rightwards, RC leftwards. So finally, this is equation number 1. In this equation, RS and RC of course are in kilonewton because we have taken load in kilonewton. This is statically indeterminate problem again because we couldn't find the reactions by conditions of equilibrium only. And condition of equilibrium gave us only one equation. Now delta, relation between deformations. This is how you are going to create second equation. Delta is equal to deformation of steel plus deformation of copper because these two members are in series. So delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2. Now important part. Here it is fixed support and this is also fixed support. But before this end of copper wire comes in contact with the support, there is clearly deformation by 0.25 millimeter. So we'll substitute values this way. Delta is 0.25 millimeter. This gap gets filled, matlab this composite bar elongates by 0.25 millimeter. This is total elongation of the composite bar. So that is equal to PSLS upon ESS plus PCLC upon ECAC, C for copper. 0.25 millimeters, it is in millimeter, take care of units. Now take a section in first part. That will give you load on the first part. So I have taken cross section in steel, add forces on the left hand side. So it is RS pull. So load on steel is RS pull. So I am substituting the values. Delta 0.25. Load on steel is RS. It is in kilonewton, that's why I multiplied it by 10 raised to 3. 500 millimeters, that is length, Young's modulus, cross-sectional area. So PSLS upon ESAS. Now what is this term? PC, load on copper, take a section on copper. If you consider right side, then that is push RC. So you can substitute PC as minus RC. No problem. But we don't want two unknowns in this equation and it is possible to get this equation with only one unknown. Take a section in copper, but now consider forces on the left hand side. So RS leftwards? No. When you want to find force in a member, you should check pull and push. So RS pull and 150 push. So net force is RS minus 150. Watch here. It is in kilonewton, that's why I multiplied by 10 raised to 3. Now put corresponding values. Length of copper is 800. Young's modulus of copper is 100 into 10 raised to 3. And cross-sectional area of copper is 1590 millimeter squared. Diameter is known, so pi d squared by 4, you will get it. How many unknowns are there in this equation? Only one unknown, RS. So do necessary calculations and get the unknowns. Positive answer means direction in the diagram is correct. Now, put RS in equation 1 in this equation. So RC is 50.76. So RC, this direction is correct. So we got push type of force. So from here it is push. That means certainly this bar comes in contact with this. That is why there is push. Suppose you get negative answer here. So what does that mean? It means the support is pulling the copper rod, which is impossible. That is a logical answer, because when there is elongation of steel rod, this copper rod comes in contact and further elongation is impossible. It means there is push type of force. If this bar comes in contact with this rod, pull type of force is impossible, because it will be simple contact. And when two surfaces are in contact, they simply push. There cannot be pull type of force. So these are the reactions. Now to find stresses. Stress in steel is load on steel divided by cross-sectional area of steel. Stresses induced in the two materials. So sigma S is PS upon AS. PS, that is load on steel, that is nothing but pull RS, and RS is 99.24. Substitute the values, get the answer. So it is 202.2 Newton per millimeter squared tensile stress, because it is pull type of force. Now stress in copper, PC upon AC. Load on copper divided by cross sectional area of copper. Load on copper is 50.76. Load on copper is RC, 50.76. But it is compressive. So substitute the values. Load on copper in Newton, cross sectional area of copper, and we got the stress, but we know that it is push type of force, so load is compressive load. So stress is compressive stress. Okay, what else is asked in the problem? Actual change in length of each rod. Actual change in length of each rod. So change in length of steel rod is equal to PSLS upon ESS. This is how we have found out delta S. Just put the values. Load on steel is 99.24. Okay, so this is how we have found out stress. Watch here, PS, that is nothing but RS, load on steel, it is pull type of force, so it is elongation, increase in length. Now load on copper is PC, so delta C is PC LC upon EC AC. What exactly load on copper? We have considered section in the copper, we have realized that it is push type of force. That means copper is in compression. And how much is that compression? 50.76. This RC is 50.76. Substitute respective values and get the answer. It is decrease in length. Now if you add these two deformations, delta S plus delta C, you should get total delta. And how much is total delta? 0.25. Add these two values. But remember, this is just for your understanding. If you add these two values, you should consider for decrease negative 0.5053 minus 0.2553, and what answer you get? 0.25. So all our calculations are perfect. We have solved the problem.
Thank you for watching the video. If you are satisfied with the video, please like the video, subscribe my channel for many more such videos. And if you are interested in entire series or entire course of strengths of materials, please let me know on this email ID. Thank you. Good day. Bye bye.